Hello students, so UPSC Prelims GS paper 1 as well as CSAT paper has been done. So we are going to discuss with our faculty, that is Legacy IAS faculty, ki whether paper was difficult or it was too difficult. Here I will not discuss paper was easy because everyone know that paper was really difficult. And what pattern has been changed, that also we are going to discuss in this particular podcast, as well as we are going to predict cutoff also. But again, this will not be the right cutoff, but we will discuss based on the previous year's papers. So what was your reaction actually?
In this paper, see, ultimately what happens is there are few questions which basically creates the mindset as to how the paper was. Over the number of 100 questions, UPSC generally tries to even it out. However, I do not see that in this year's paper. This year's paper had all the ingredients to make it tough with respect to every single thing that is possible. First thing, that polity, which is probably on the lines of a standard book, was not so. So from the standard book, you cannot not answer it. Second, the length of the paper. Each single question was 1 page long, which makes it really time consuming. The question might be easy, but the question is so long that the complexity of it can also make it difficult for the students. At the same time, a lot of factual questions were also asked, which you either know or you do not know it. So all these things were together wrapped in one. Though history, we are seeing more number of questions from history this year. However, history also was not from your usual standard books of art and culture or ancient history as such. So overall, with respect to these subjects, the paper was tough. Probably maybe in environment, geography and science and tech, maybe Gaurav sir can throw some light on that. But overall, the look of the paper is probably it's more difficult than how it was the previous year is what I would say.
Okay, so Gaurav sir, from geography side, earlier actually geography, used to give some conceptual questions that used to be easy for the student, but this year I think we have not seen.
Yeah.
So what, those students who are going to appear next year, what approach they should have, and what is your opinion regarding the geography questions from this year paper?
So first of all, few changes we have seen in the geography. Number of questions has been reduced almost to half. Like last 2-3 years, we have seen questions somewhere between 15 to 20. This year, core geography question, we can reduce it to about 8 to 9, not more than that. Second, earlier they used to ask questions from like geomorphology, climatology, oceanography, questions that are conceptual in nature, questions that can be solved by studying NCERTs or attending classes and through those things. But this year what we are seeing, UPSC is focusing more on checking map based understanding, and second, the linkage with current affairs. For example, the oceanography question, which earlier used to be of conceptual nature, now it has been asked with relation to the scheme that the government of India, mission that government of India has launched. So like Samudrayan, Matsyayan, these kind of things were asked. They are continuously in news. Second is, if we talk about the Indian geography, we have seen that questions cannot be solved just because you have read some facts, right, from the NCERTs and all that. You need to have complete understanding of all the states of India, where they are located, what is the borders of India, international borders of India. Even questions that seem to be from climate of India, they also can be easily solved if you have the knowledge of location of Andaman Nicobar Island. So going forward, the focus should be again to understand Indian geography better, and understand not by reading text and having a lot of information, but looking at the map in detail. So Atlas is going to be one of the most important reference material that students should definitely refer for the next year examinations as such.
Okay. So economy side also, I suppose it was not that direct questions, So some current affair questions were also there from the economy side. So what approach they should have from the economy side, from the next year students, or whether if they follow just NCERT that used to be said earlier, that is more enough for them to prepare for the UPSC economy, or they need to just increase their effort more the next year?
Yes, so sir, absolutely it will not be enough to just read the NCERT. In fact, I will go on to also say that even the standard books are not enough. What can actually happen, the students' approach should be to attend the classes on a regular basis. Because I'll just give you an example over here. So, you have multi-dimensional poverty index. Now, even in the standard book, they have just mentioned the United Nations Development Programme's multidimensional poverty index. They have not mentioned about Niti Aayog, but in my lecture, I have specifically told that Niti Aayog has taken a hint from this and added 2 additional things to the UNDP one. It's not mentioned in standard book, it's not mentioned in NCRT, but it has been discussed in the class. So those kind of nuances is what you should know. And that will come only when you are basically in the class discussing with the teachers telling you some additional things which is not there. Because as a teacher, we know, okay, if this topic is mentioned, what is the peripheral topics that can also be asked? Or what is the question that can be set from there? So just NCRT, I would say it will not cut it. Even the standard books, the questions are not directly from the standard book. This multidimensional poverty index of Niti Aayog you cannot find. You cannot find a drop shipping thing which is there. You cannot find the UPI thing which is there. You put take out Nitin Singhania book. It's not mentioned about UPI what has been asked. So it happens only through classroom discussions. I think will play a very, very critical role, because the students can also not keep on reading multiple books for the same topic or subject, right? And how much will they read? What will they read? So here the guidance will play a really very important role is what I think, sir.
Yeah, for example, in Indian polity also the same thing is there.
Okay.
Ki earlier actually direct straightforward question used to be there from the Lakshmikant itself. This year I think only 2 and 3 questions were there that you can solve from the Lakshmikant. Yes. And they were completely free questions actually. For example, if 15 questions are there, directly you are getting 30 marks, free of cost. Then we have to search only from geography, economy or other sections. Right now we need to find some marks from the polity also. We are not getting from any other subject also. Okay, so that is one completely different they have done this year. So one thing that I have observed this time is what UPSC has done a mistake actually here. Those who are preparing a serious way, okay, this year, and those who have not prepared serious way, there is hardly any difference. Correct. Because both are not able to solve the questions. Correct. So what is your what is your take actually here?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a pattern we are seeing this year. Maybe, I don't know what was the logic behind setting such kind of questions for UPSC examination. But yeah, definitely people who have studiously studied NCRTs, covered all the standard textbooks and all that, and then have referred to current affairs, something news. So that is not going to help. What we have to focus more now, it seems like, on current affairs, especially government schemes are there. We are seeing that a lot of questions are being asked where India is becoming a member of several other international organizations. Like some pattern we are seeing repeated also, like BIMSTEC. Similar question was asked last year as well. Apart from that, we are also seeing questions linked to the missions and all. Like we have seen Samudrayan, we have discussed before. Apart from that, because of Indo-Pakistan war, we have seen questions were linked from that, because we have the mission Sudarshan Chakra that government has initiated in the defense and air defense system. That question was asked. So what we are seeing is in current affairs also, which topics are being repeated and are being continuously covered broadly by most of newspapers. From there we have seen a lot of questions. So it seems that students need to be aware about what is going on around them, related to governance, related to defense, related to internal security, international relations. These are the non-core areas UPSC has focused this year rather than the core subjects. That's my overall take.
Yeah. So that is the cases. For example, this year we have seen, okay, new pattern of questions are coming, that is ethics and administration. Basically 3 questions were there, lengthy case study type of questions. So this is the new introduction. Okay. So one thing is, this role of prelims exam is just to identify some serious student for the mains examination. Okay. But what they have done it now, the coaching institute or any other books, okay, they will start coming, okay, again. Now we need to have, okay, some syllabus, okay, for the ethics also. New notes will come. They are going to put extra pressure on the student. Now those who are going to appear for the prelims, before the prelims, they need to go through like ethics entire notes also. But maybe possible next year they are not asking any questions from that. So the students may be in kind of dilemma whether they need to read it or not. So is this a right approach, or UPSC need to change this trend actually?
See, what has been seen is that, UPSC probably is trying to ensure that any aspirant who is generally aware using NCRT and all can attempt. But UPSC has completely walked away from this process, in fact. Rather, they are creating more panic in the students. And because of which, of course, you are absolutely right, multiple now prelims-oriented book for ethics would also come. Yeah. I remember in 2018, they asked a question with respect to the philosophy of liberty. Which of the following best describes liberty? Now, Now that was from political theory book. Students started reading political theory book. Institutes started asking questions, but after that 2019, 20, 21, you have not seen a single question as such, right? So this, I want to feel that hopefully it is a one-off, but because it is ethics, I may think it is not a one-off from UPSC. Maybe UPSC wants to filter it out with respect to your decision making over here only, which I feel mains is a better place to check your decision making. Personality test is a better place to check your decision making. It should not be done over here. But I think possible that this trend of ethics or decision making question, I think there's a possibility that this may continue. But again, I would say that over emphasis by the students should not be given on this. Whatever they have for their ethics already with respect to those things should be sufficing over here. I don't think this will continue and become more prominent in the days to come. Another interesting type of question that I have seen in this year's paper is, there is a question in which they have given first three statements in Roman figures, number first, second and third, which is correct only. And then they have asked you, tell me what is the relationship between the above three statements. So again, it is not a Sagarmala project question. There is no fact, no feature, no concept, nothing. That is also a decision making question, wherein can you identify that these two statements are opposite to each other, supporting each other or against each other. So that is also a decision making ethics related questions that have come. So that generally happens in management courses, I believe. So maybe after, when the UPSC will also probably get a feedback from the social media and everywhere. So I think this would not continue is what I believe. But let's see. But again, we cannot, just bank on this. We would still have to prepare our students to ensure that they can answer any kind of question UPSC puts in front of them.
Okay. Yeah. So as you right said, कि maybe possible UPSC will going to ask questions basically ethics area. They want to know whether student is prepared in that particular year. One more new trend that I have seen is that it started actually from the last year. Earlier UPSC never used to ask questions in the area like games, sports, prizes, film, because these were the trend before 2011. After 2011 they stopped it, but now again they start asking questions from this area. So how students need to prepare from these areas, whether they need to learn something more about other sports also, or this is just one kind they need to leave it actually?
I think it's not going to affect a lot if students are preparing for examination and studying all the conventional sources and all that, because again UPSC is a relative examination, you not have to score some absolute mark as such. Yes, okay. So if you are preparing in a way how general preparation should be done, such kind of 2-3 questions are there, they can be considered as bouncer question. If you are knowing about it, it is well and good. Otherwise you should not start referring to an entire guide, because again in market people will take advantage of it. Yes, they'll bring a guide where you'll have name of all the sports personalities, all the books that are released in this year and what is the name of their author, and will spend a lot of time. And again, it is possible next year you will not have any question like that, or maybe one question you will have. So risk reward is very, very low in those areas. So I would suggest that still current affairs, how we are preparing for current affairs, covering whatever is going on, important international affairs, internal security and all that, plus referring to all the standard books, class notes and all that should suffice for examination, again because it is a relative examination.
Yes. So definitely there is no doubt that paper was not difficult. So if you have to score out of 10, so what score you will give on the difficulty level for this? If 10 is most difficult,
yes,
like more than 2023 level. So is this paper was more difficult than 2023 when cutoff was literally 72, 73 marks only? So what score you will give it actually?
Yes, so I believe it is on the difficult side. So and UPSC still has the ability to make it more difficult. So I can't give it 10 on 10 or 9 on 10, but I would say somewhere as compared to 2023, this will be roundabout of the same difficulty level. That was difficult for different reasons. This is difficult for different reasons. The standard sources not working over here, questions are lengthy, time issues will be there, overwhelming, because the students are calibrated for certain pattern of questions. Now all of a sudden student sees one page worth of question, the student is panicking over there. So I would keep it on the same level. So I would like to rate it around maybe 7.5 to 8 is the difficulty level is what I would say. 8 is the difficulty level, definitely.
So Gaurav sir, in your opinion, what is the difficulty level of this year paper actually?
Yeah, I think it should be about somewhere 8 to 8.5 because obviously questions were much more difficult, but UPSC also had tried to make it easier. How? Because past couple of years we have seen questions with options like only one is correct, only two is correct.
Correct.
So in there you need to know all the three facts, then only you can mark the correct answer. Again, this year we can see that some elimination technique could have been used, and even if you're not aware about all the statements, if you know one or two statement, you could have reached the right answer. So yes, 8 to 8.5 I think should be the right
Okay.
for this.
So what is your prediction regarding the cutoff? For example, many of the students, they are waiting for this itself. What can be the cutoff, okay, for this year actually, so that they need to prepare for the mains exam without any worry.
Yes, correct. So what has happened is last year the cutoff went up a bit. It reached 90.66. Also, the cutoff to an extent depends on how tough, because we are yet to see that how tough the CSAT paper is. So if the CSAT paper comes really very tough, the cutoff is going to probably go up. If the CSAT paper is not that tough, then if the CSAT paper is not that tough, then the cutoff may be on the lower side probably. So I feel somewhere it would be lesser than what last year it was, because the paper is comparatively difficult than what last year it was. At least last year, standard sources, geography questions, if you look at NCRTs and all, you can solve it. That is not the case right now. And all of a sudden, too much government schemes, and not just those government schemes which are very much in news. Let's say Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, Fasal Bima Yojana, they have been used throughout. But you're talking about schemes which is not prevalently in news, right? So I would say lesser than that. So anyone who's maybe getting around 85 marks or something should start preparing for mains. In fact, I to suggest the students that no matter the marks, even if you are attempting for next year, you should start preparing with your answer writing optional right now. Because the closer you are to prelims, you study prelims more. The farther away from prelims you are, you study mains more. So anyhow, irrespective of it, go ahead with your mains preparation. But still, if it's your last attempt or you are in dilemma, then to of course you still have to continue. But still, for students who want to know, I would say that if you are scoring anywhere above 80, or round about 80, please go ahead and start your mains preparation.
So Gaurav sir, what is your opinion regarding the cutoff? Because I am thinking that even though someone is scoring more than even 70, they should prepare for the
Yeah,
UPSC
definitely.
mains exam.
I think above 70, you should start preparing. Do not waste time discussing cutoff, because that general tendency aspirants have. They start searching cutoff, they get from one source, they get from other source, they start discussing with other aspirants and all that, and then they give up hope. They think that I will not qualify, right? And again, they see their roll number in the prelims list. So without wasting time, start optionals, whatever optionals you have chosen, start writing answers for main, and the specific the subjects that you have for mains, like internal security challenges and all that, you should go ahead with it. Anyway, if you are not able to qualify, unfortunately, next year again you can attempt prelims, but whatever effort you make for mains examination will also be helpful for the next year mains examination.
Okay, so what is the final words for the student, those who appeared in this exam actually, because they definitely need the word, because they are facing that the paper was difficult for them. So what final word you want to say to the students, as well as any suggestions you want to give to the UPSC?
Yes. So first about the students, right? See, students, the thing is, this paper is relative. So if it is tough for you, it is tough for everyone. So that is why it's just not just a test of your knowledge. It is also a test of how well you can perform under pressure, how well you can cope when the situation is not what it used to be, because it's same for everyone. So it is a game of temperament, right? Some student who might have studied lesser could still qualify if they are not panicking and they are very concentrated on what they have to do. They have to stay calm, and still you will realize a lot of questions can still be answered. So do not get drawn into all these noises that you will be hearing now. Just stay calm, just focus on yourself, your studies itself. Now that is how it is, and you never know, the cutoff, as sir is also saying, that it can of course be in the range of 70 also. So don't worry about it, you would still clear it. You have done a lot, you have come till here, right? So I think this is what the approach should be. Main thing is, during the examination, just do not panic. No matter you don't know 10 questions straight away, does not matter. There are 90 more questions left. And if you don't know and you know you are a serious aspirant, others will also not know it. So do not panic in such situation. That's one thing. Now, with respect to suggestions for the UPSC, what I would say is random questions which asks random fact and which is too difficult. Okay, you are asking where this particular organization's, this particular department located. You know, that is basically, you know, no one can solve it. If someone does by luck, I don't know. So these kind of questions, if they are one or two, fair enough. But if these questions are more prominent, the questions which are so factual in nature, in the age of technology, if you are keeping factual questions this much prominent, I think that does not solve the purpose of the kind of bureaucrats you want in your organization. It should be more application based, it should be more knowledge based, right? Or else we are going on the track of having questions like banking you have, or maybe in state PCS you get these kind of, or maybe SBI PO exams you get these kind of factual questions. So maybe that should be on a lower side, because everything, the entire thing is on your fingertips now. I do understand factual questions with respect to history, with respect to ancient history, art and culture, because that we should know. The art, the architecture, the heritage, the culture, the region, so that we can empathize with them, right? We can empathize with the other culture, so we should know their factual things. Till there, it's all right. But with respect to infrastructure and the offices where the departments are there, maybe that thing can be changed, is what I believe.
Yeah. So what is your opinion, and what final words you will give to the student, those who appeared in the exam?
So first of all, even if you feel that paper was difficult, you're not going to qualify, do not lose your hope, because everyone is feeling the same thing. So again, it's a relative examination. Do not worry about. I think you should not even discuss what is going to be cut off. You should be happy with whatever you have attempted. And I think in examination also, because if students or aspirants have been able to keep their cool, if they're not being panicked in examination, they would have been able to get enough marks to qualify or sail through the examination. So final word would be same, that it is same for everyone. All of you are in the same boat. So start preparing for mains examination as soon as possible, after taking few days of break, obviously. And that's all.
Yeah. So definitely, to conclude, my opinion is this only, ki yes, paper was difficult, no doubt. There is no second other opinion. No one can take it. Paper was difficult, and it was really difficult actually, because when we are outside and when we are seeing the paper, it looks difficult. When those who are solving in exam hall, that is different condition. Definitely for them it is difficult. Even many of the questions I have seen, it takes time to read the question only. It's just like a CSAT paper only. Earlier in one page we used to have 4 questions, now only 2 questions were there. So it was difficult. In 2023 level we say, then sir has told ki that was difficult because of other reason, ki they have set up options this way. But here the difficulty was a statement, and as well as the topic that they have taken, that was completely different. So because of that reason, this is difficult. So yes, those who already getting, for example, 70, okay, based on UPSC answer key basically, so they should prepare for the mains answer writing practice, as well as optional paper and ethics paper, as well as essay paper. If anyone who is getting more than 70, and if you want any help in the mains exam, definitely you can call to the Legacy IAS, and we, our faculty, entire team is going to help you. You can take like main size test series is there, 2026. You can take that also. Here our team is going to help you personally, 1-to-1. Okay, so that will be our approach here, and team's approach is also there. It will be completely mentorship oriented basically. Like for example, earlier I think our student like rank 31, rank 45, rank 53, they got through this program itself. Okay, so be prepared, don't discuss much, and I think okay, you just need to take 1 or 2 days holiday without going to the explanation of the answer also. Just go for the mains exam.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.